Hey everyone, and welcome. So, in today's explainer, we're unpacking what is arguably one of history's absolute most famous underdog stories. You know the one. It's a narrative that's echoed through the centuries, literally defining what it means to face impossible odds. We're going to look at a confrontation that basically stripped away all the conventional rules of warfare. It's the kind of story that asks us to look at those massive, overwhelming obstacles in front of us and just completely rethink how we're supposed to conquer them.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture the scene. You're standing there on a tense, terrifying battlefield. The air is thick with fear, and echoing across the entire landscape is this loud, booming voice demanding a challenger. Send someone to fight me. Every single day, this taunt rings out, paralyzing a whole army. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the fear, it is absolutely palpable. No one is moving. Nobody is stepping up.
Part 1. An ordinary shepherd boy. Now, to understand how this deadlock actually breaks, we have to look away from the front lines for a second. We need to introduce our main figure. And surprisingly, we're not looking at a seasoned general or some formidable warrior. Nope, we are looking at a youth simply running an errand. David's reality was, well, entirely unremarkable. He wasn't a soldier. He didn't wear armor or train for combat. Actually, his daily life basically consisted of taking care of sheep and playing music. The only reason he was even near this battlefield was because his dad had sent him to deliver some food to his older brothers serving in the Israelite army. He was literally just a delivery boy stepping into a war zone. Keeping this ordinary baseline in mind is absolutely crucial as the conflict unfolds.
Part 2. The terrifying giant.
Because on the other side of this conflict was a walking nightmare. A massive, towering threat named Goliath, who had completely paralyzed not just the army, but their king, too. When David arrived to drop off the food, he heard that terrifying voice echoing across the camp. And this brilliantly illustrates the completely impossible scale of this standoff. Think about it. On one side, you have Goliath, huge, incredibly strong, fully covered in heavy armor, projecting a voice that literally shook the courage out of grown men. On the other side, you have David, a young shepherd boy holding a food delivery. The juxtaposition is almost comical, right? Every single metric of logic, military strategy, and basic physics tells us this is absolutely not a matchup. But David's reaction is what flips the script entirely. While everyone else is cowering in the trenches, absolutely terrified of Goliath's daily shouting, David looks at the exact same giant and has a completely different response. He actually asks, "Why is everyone so afraid? This giant is defying God." Where the seasoned soldiers saw an unbeatable monster, David saw someone disrespecting his faith. His perspective wasn't rooted in military odds at all. It was rooted in a deep, unwavering belief. Of course, the people around him, they could only see the physical reality. They looked at David, they looked at Goliath, and they literally laughed at him. "You're just a boy," they told him. "You can't fight him." He got immediate pushback from his own people. They were utterly blinded by his physical limitations and, well, their own paralyzing fear. Part 3. Rejecting the armor. But David wasn't going to let the laughter or the fear of others stop him. He stepped forward to fight Goliath, but his preparation for this deadly battle was incredibly unconventional. He didn't draw his confidence from military training. He drew it from his past. David argued to the doubters, "Look, I've faced lions and bears while protecting my sheep." He basically created a clear timeline of trust. He survived the lions, he survived the bears, and he did it because God helped him. His logic was simple, but really profound. The exact same God who helped him in the pasture back then is going to help him on the battlefield right now.
Hearing this conviction, the king finally agreed to let him fight. But he tried to equip David with traditional armor. Well, the armor simply didn't fit. It was heavy, it was clunky, and completely foreign to him. So David made a critical choice. He rejected the conventional gear. He realized he couldn't fight this battle trying to be someone he wasn't. He had to rely on exactly what he knew, which changed the rules of the fight entirely. He was stepping into what we'd call asymmetric warfare.
So what did he actually take into battle against a fully armored, giant killing machine? Five smooth stones and his shepherd sling. That was it. That was his entire arsenal. He's walking out onto the battlefield, the fate of his entire people on his shoulders, carrying nothing but a few rocks he grabbed from a stream.
Part 4. Faith defeats the giant. The moment has arrived. As David leaves the safety of the camp and approaches, Goliath is just completely insulted. He looks at this unarmed kid holding a shepherd's staff and a sling, and he shouts with utter disdain,
Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Goliath is mocking David's completely unthreatening appearance. I mean, he's expecting a worthy adversary, and instead he feels like he's being made a fool of. But David doesn't flinch at the mocking, not at all. He makes an incredible counterclaim. He stands firm and shouts back, "You come with a sword and spear, but I come in the name of the Lord." Now, what's really interesting here is that this is the turning point of the entire explainer. David is openly declaring that his power source isn't the physical weapons he's holding, and it sure isn't his own physical strength. His true weapon is his faith. Then, the action happens in a flash. Step 1. David reaches into his pouch and takes out a single stone. Step 2. He places it carefully into his sling. Step 3. He winds back and swings that sling with absolutely all of his strength. And step 4. The stone flies through the air, finding the only exposed spot on the giant's body, and strikes Goliath right on the forehead. And just like that, it was over. The giant fell to the ground, a shocking, instantaneous conclusion that left both armies standing in absolute stunned silence. The impossible had literally just happened right in front of their eyes.
So the crucial point is this. Everyone watching that day realized a really profound truth. Victory wasn't dictated by the conventional rules of power. Think about it. Massive size and strength, defeated by a simple shepherd boy. Swords, spears, and heavy armor, beaten by 5 stones and a sling. And the overwhelming power of fear and intimidation was completely dismantled by unwavering trust in God. It wasn't about the size of the weapons. It was about the size of his faith. David trusted God, and because of that, a shepherd boy brought down a giant. This isn't just some ancient historical event, you know? It's a blueprint, and it leaves us with an incredibly powerful question to consider in our own lives. When we are faced with terrifying obstacles, when the odds are stacked against us and everyone else is telling us it's impossible, what giants can trust and faith conquer today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this story gives you the courage to face whatever giant is standing in your way.